I just read a story that came across, it happened a couple days ago. Um, this 11-year-old boy gave all his birthday money, used his birthday money to buy meals from Chick Fil A for the homeless population, for people experiencing homelessness. Is that a Christmas miracle or what? It just warmed my heart. Just, that was just one of those things that you don't see too much. And I was reading it, and before I could read the whole thing, I just saw Chick Fil A's response, and it says, Chick Fil A plans to, and I just knew they were going to say, give like 1,000 meals or da. And like every fast food chain should do to people experiencing homelessness, amen, right? I scrolled down and it says they're going to offer him a TV commercial. They're going to offer him a commercial. Here we are sitting in the middle of a pandemic, one of the worst crisis, the worst humanitarian crisis, and this young child makes the first step to acknowledging it and using his money to buy meals, and Chick Fil A responds with giving him a commercial. This is where we find ourselves these days. Even though we know it's a crisis, and now it's a crisis within a crisis, this group of people is still ignored. And I'm going to tell you, there are many, many parts of this story. One is that this young man's gift, this child's gift, was more than the hundreds, the thousands, the millions that many people give. You know why? Because it was all he had. That's the kind of giving that is about Jesus anyway. That is what Jesus asked for. He says, you know what he says? Remember, sell all your riches. He told the man who was trying to get into the kingdom, sell all your riches. I'm preaching now. Come on. It's just Christmas season. I just feel a sermon coming on. He said, sell all your riches and give. I don't preach all the time. So, hey, let me take advantage of this time when I am. He said, sell your riches and give to the poor. If you want to enter the kingdom, this child entered the kingdom. Entered the kingdom because he gave all he had. He didn't ask for gifts. I don't have any teens or young kids like that around me like that now. But he didn't ask for all these gadgets and stuff. He asked for money, and he used that money. This is such a Christmas season story. You know, the story of he gave all he had. It reminds me, too, of the little drummer boy. You know, the little drummer boy is not necessarily in the Bible, but, you know, the legend has it. He didn't have a lot. You know what? I looked into the story of the little drummer boy. He had a drum that his parents had gotten him. And he would play and he would dream of just drumming in front of everybody. And one day, a parade went by his house. A parade of people went by his house. And they were dignitaries. They were, on nice camels. Like nowadays it would be the Cadillacs and the Teslas. They were like, distinguished people. So he looked out and he said, this is the time it's a parade. That's what I want to do. So let me get in this parade and play my drums. That's all he had was his little drum, And he played, and since he was fulfilling his dream, people were throwing stones at him as the parade, because the parade was probably silent, but except for that drum. And people were throwing stones and yelling and screaming out the window, telling him to shut up. That's how it is when you're trying to fulfill your goal. But he kept drumming, and he followed the procession, thinking they were going to go to something like the palace, and it went to this little spot in a barn. with animals. But all these people who had seen the signs, the star that settled over that spot, that's where they were headed. And he ended up at that spot with his drums. And these people were giving, I mean, they were giving all kinds of gifts: frankincense, gold, myrrh, all of that expensive, um, the expensive perfumes and all of that. And they gave their gifts and took off. They left. And he was left there standing with his little drum. And he said, I really don't have anything like those expensive gifts, but can I play on this drum? Y'all know the story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. And he started playing his drum. Playing his drum. And Jesus, baby Jesus, because baby Jesus was a baby. He didn't care about that gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but that drum, he was like, he smiled. You know, little baby's like, I like that. And Mary noticed that, you know. And the love that he gave from that drum is what was accepted. It came from his heart. He gave all he had to baby Jesus. And that's what this child did. Okay, I said I wasn't going to preach, but it's coming on. What do you have to give to Jesus today? What do you have to give to Jesus today? Is it just a portion? And don't think Jesus is up in the sky. You know where Jesus is? Right among the people who are in need. He said, if you give unto those the least of these, you have given unto me. That child gave to Jesus this season. I wish these big corporations would take his lead and give to him as well. This season that marks the celebration of his birth, we all need to give. This child thought, he says, I'm going to give it to, I think he said churches or organizations. He said, no, I'm going to give it directly to the people. There is, and I believe it's scientifically. I mean, first of all, Jesus is embedded in his people. When you give to people, you give to Jesus. I'm not talking about just, putting offering in the church. I'm talking about giving to a need, people in need. And there is like a feel-good hormone, oxytocin is a feel-good. I hope I got it right. I hope I'm not saying a real drug. I'm going to look it up later just to make sure. But it's that feel-good hormone that studies have shown that you don't get it from giving to organizations who have all that bureaucracy. You don't give it to giving through third parties. But when you give directly to people, that feel-good hormone goes into action. And I'm not saying you should always give just to feel good in return, but that's just part of the bargain. That's just part of the bargain. So this is enough for my preaching this season, the season of preaching. This is Let's Talk. I come on from time to time and I talk about the homeless crisis. This is a story that I just did not want to miss. And wherever you are, take this child's lead. We need to follow the lead of people who set good examples in the homeless community, because not too many people do. Not too many people do. I applaud this young child for what he did. I hope that he signifies a generation of giving. The baby boomers, we haven't healed homelessness. Gen X, the millennials, every generation, I pray, brings out people or will have that passion to ignore all the negativity surrounding the homeless crisis and try to fulfill everything that needs to be done to end it once and for all. This is the second century, the second decade, rather, of the 21st century. We should not go into another century carrying this horrible, egregious humanitarian crisis of homelessness. Somebody's got to step up, and that young child did. This has been lit, and I hope you'll join me for more. And I can't promise I'm always preach, but today I just, it's a Christmas season. I had to. Until next time, I wish you peace this holiday season and throughout the entire year.